Hey everyone, and welcome. Think about it. Every single day, you click on links, and like magic, a web page just appears. But have you ever really stopped to wonder what's happening in that split second? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on that incredible, high-speed journey your data takes every single time you browse the web.
So that's the big question, right? It feels like it's instantaneous, but that one little click kicks off this amazing chain reaction. It's a flurry of requests, translations, and connections that can literally span the entire globe. We're going to break down that whole journey, piece by piece.
Okay, so first things first. The very first problem your browser needs to solve is basically a language barrier. It knows the website's name, something like gaia.cs.umass.edu, but the internet itself doesn't really work with names. It works with numbers. So your browser has to find the right IP address to even know where to send the request. And that's where the domain name system, or DNS, comes into play. The easiest way to think about it is like the internet's giant shared address book. Its entire job is to look up the name you gave it and find the matching IP address. It's basically the GPS for the entire internet. Now, how that lookup actually happens is honestly genius. It's this clever game of go ask that guy. Your computer first asks its local DNS server, kind of like asking a friend. If that server doesn't know, it goes up the chain and asks a root server. The root server will say, I don't know the full address, but I know who handles all the .edu websites. Go ask them. Then that server points you to the final authoritative server that holds the actual record. And that's the server that gives you the IP address. It's this distributed system that makes the whole thing work without one single point of failure. So that final answer you get from the DNS server is called a record. The one we usually care about is the A record. That's the one that maps a name directly to an IP address. But there are other useful ones too, like a CNAME, which is just an alias. So you can make www.compsyz.com point to the shorter compsyz.com. And then there are MX records, which are super important for telling the internet where to deliver email for that domain.
Okay, we've got the IP address, we know where we're going, awesome. But, new challenge. How do we make absolutely sure that our request and all the website data coming back to us arrives perfectly? With no missing bits or jumbled up pieces.
Well, the answer to that is the Transmission Control Protocol, or TCP. This is the internet's certified mail service, for real. It sets up a formal connection, a sort of digital handshake, between your computer and the server. And for every single piece of data that gets sent, it requires an acknowledgement, an ACK, to confirm it was received. If an ACK doesn't come back, TCP just sends that piece again. It absolutely guarantees that what you ask for is exactly what you get.
And this is so crucial. For a web page, reliability is everything. You need every single line of code, every image to load just right. That's why we use TCP. Its cousin, UDP, is way faster because it just blasts out data without waiting for any acknowledgments. That's great for things like video streaming or online games, where losing one little packet isn't the end of the world. But for a web page, it would be total chaos. All right, so we have the server's address, check. We have a rock-solid, reliable connection, check. Now it's finally time to, actually ask for the web page itself.
And this is literally the language your browser speaks. It's an HTTP GET request. It's just a simple line of text that says GET, then the path to the file it wants and the version of the protocol it's using. It's so simple. But this little command is the fundamental action that makes the entire web work. Now, how we use that GET request has a massive impact on speed. Back in the day, with something called non-persistent HTTP, downloading a page with just a few images was slow. The browser had to open a brand new TCP connection for the main page, then close it, then open another one for the first image, close it, and again for the next image. All that opening and closing really adds up to 216 milliseconds in this case. So naturally, browsers got a bit smarter. They tried to speed things up by opening multiple connections at the same time, in parallel. And yeah, that was definitely better. It cut the load time down quite a bit, 236 milliseconds. But it was still pretty inefficient. You're still setting up and tearing down all these separate connections, which costs time and resources. And this brings us to the modern solution, persistent HTTP. It's so much smarter. The browser opens just one reliable TCP connection and then keeps it open to download the main page and all the images, one after the other.
By getting rid of that setup delay for every single item, the total load time plummets to just 116 milliseconds. This efficiency is a huge reason why modern websites feel so snappy.
So, we know how to find a server, connect reliably, and ask for stuff efficiently. But how in the world do our little data packets actually find their way through the gigantic, tangled maze of the internet to get where they need to go?
It all comes back to that IP address. But here's the trick. An IP address isn't just one number. It's actually two pieces of information rolled into one. You've got the network part and you've got the host part. Just think of a regular street address. It has the street name and it has the house number. So how does a computer know which part is which? It uses something called a subnet mask. The subnet mask is like a stencil. You lay it over the IP address, and it perfectly reveals which part of the address is the neighborhood, or the network, and which part is the specific house, or the computer you're trying to reach. And you can see exactly how it works here. The subnet mask tells the internet's routers, hey, just pay attention to the first three parts of this IP address to find the right network. Once the data packet gets to that neighborhood, the local router there looks at the last part of the address, the host portion, number 33, to deliver it to the exact right machine. It's this simple two-step system that lets routers navigate the entire globe. Whew, we have covered a lot of ground, from names to numbers, from handshakes to routing. So now let's put it all together and do a quick play-by-play of the entire journey, from the moment you click to the moment content appears on your screen. And there it is, the whole relay race. It starts with your click. Instantly, DNS finds the IP address. Then, TCP builds that reliable connection. Over that connection, HTTP sends the GET request asking for the page. All the while, routers are using the IP address and subnetting to guide that request to the right network and the right machine. And finally, the server sends the content right back to you. The crazy part? This all happens in the blink of an eye. It's truly an incredible, invisible dance of technology that we just take for granted every day. So I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you've seen the whole journey, from the clever hierarchy of DNS to the absolute necessity of TCP, what part of this whole process do you find the most amazing or surprising? Thanks for diving in with me today.